Good morning, my friends. Hope you're fine and doing well. Welcome to a new session with me, Nazir. سلام دوستان عزیز، صبح بخیر. امیدوار هستم که خوب باشید. خوش آمدید با یک ویدیوی جدید. Dear friends, in our previous session, we discussed subject. I hope you have learned that subject is the performer of an action, or subject is something or that we talk about or something that is described. دوستان عزیز، در جلسه قبلی ما در مورد سابجکت یا فاعل صحبت کردیم. من امیدوار هستم که فهمیده باشین که سابجکت یا فاعل در انگلیسی انجام دهنده کار یا کسی هست، چیزی هست، جایی هست که ما در موردش صحبت میکنیم یا آن را توضیح میدهیم. Okay, now let's talk about simple present tense. First of all, let's talk about how to use simple present tense, or in which situations we should use simple present tense. در مرحله اول باید به این نکات بررسی کنیم که چه زمانی و یا در چه شرایطی ما می توانیم از زمان حال ساده استفاده کنیم. We use simple present tense to talk about habits, repeated actions or events, and we use simple present to talk about general truths. Okay. ما از زمان حال ساده برای بیان عادت‌ها یا فعالیت‌های عادی habitual actions. We use simple present to talk about repeated actions or events، یعنی فعالیت‌های تکراری یا کارها و فعالیت‌های تکراری or general truths. Okay, now let's go and discuss more each points with examples. بیاین حالا در مورد هر نکته بیشتر توضیح بدهیم و مثال بزنیم. The first point we talked is that simple present tense is used to talk about habits, or simple present tense is used to talk about habitual actions. زمان حال ساده برای توضیح و یا برای بیان عادتها و یا فعالیت‌های عادتی هر کس استفاده می شود. For example, برای مثال She drinks tea every morning. She drinks tea every morning. او هر روز صبح چای می نوشد. It means that it is her habit. It is a habitual action for her to drink tea every morning. She does it. Why? Because it is her habit. یعنی او عادت دارد که هر روز صبح چای بنوشد. این عادت از او هست. Second example. He only eats chicken. او فقط مرغ میخورد. Now, why does he eat chicken? Because it is his habit. He does it habitually. It is a habitual action for him. They watch TV regularly. They watch TV regularly. آنها به طور منظم تلویزیون میبینند. So this is a habitual action for them. This is their habit. They do it regularly. Why? Because it is their habit. So simple present tense is used to talk about habits. So after this, in English, when you wanted to talk about somebody's habit, or when you wanted to deliver a habitual action, so on that time you can use simple present tense. بعد از اگر شما خواستین در مورد عادت‌های کسی صحبت کنید و یا در مورد کارهایی که خودتان به طور عادتی انجام می‌دهید صحبت کنید، شما می‌توانید از زمان حال ساده استفاده کنید. Now let's go to the second point. Okay. Now let's discuss the second point. As I told you previously, simple present tense is used to talk about repeated actions or events. It is used to talk about repeated actions or events. زمان حال ساده برای بیان فعالیت‌های تکراری و یا مراسماتی که به صورت منظم هر ساله هر ماه برگزار می شود استفاده می شود. For example, برای مثال The club opens at 7:30 every day. The club opens at 7:30 every day. کلاب هر روز ساعت 7:30 باز می شود. This is a repeated action. The owner of the club or the club owner or owners does it every day. He or she opens at 7:30 every day. This is a repeated action that she does every day, every week, every year. She does it repeatedly. مثلا کلاب ساعت 7:30 باز می شود. این یک فعالیت تکراریه، یک کار تکراریه که صاحب کلاب این کار را هر روز انجام می دهد، به صورت تکرار هر روز انجام می دهد. شاید این کار را مثلا روزها، ماهها، هفته ها و یا شاید سالها هر روز همین کار را تکرارا انجام داده. The second example, they go on vacation every summer. They go on vacation every summer. آنها هر تابستان به مسافرت می روند. This is also a repeated action, but this is not a daily repeated action. This happens once a year. این هم یک کار تکراری هست، یک فعالیت تکراری هست، اما هر روز تکرار نمی شود، بلکه سال یک بار اتفاق می افتد. So we talked that, I told you that simple present is used to talk about repeated actions or events. Now, this example is an example of events. ما گفتیم که زمان حال ساده برای بیان کارهای تکراری و یا مثلا مناسبات تکراری استفاده می شود. Now, the second example is an example of repeated events. یک مثال برای یک مراسمی هست که به صورت تکرار همیشه انجام می گیرد. Let's go to the third example. He plays futsal every day. او هر روز فوتسال بازی می کند. Now, this is also a repeated action. He does it every day. He plays futsal every day. He does it repeatedly. یک کاری است که او هر روز انجام می دهد یا او هر روز فوتسال بازی می کند. So this is a repeated action. یک کاری تکراری هست که او هر روز انجام می دهد. So after this, when you want to talk about repeated actions or events, you can use simple present tense. اگر می خواستید که در مورد فعالیت های تکراری صحبت بکنید، فعالیت هایی که هر روز، هر سال، هر ماه به صورت منظم و به صورت تکرار انجام می شود صحبت بکنید، شما می توانید از زمان حال ساده استفاده بکنید. Now, let's go to the third point. Okay, now let's discuss the third point. Okay, we said that we use simple present tense to talk about general truth. نکته سوم، همانطور که گفتیم زمان حال ساده برای بیان حقیقت‌های عمومی، general truths, general facts، برای حقیقت‌های عمومی استفاده می شود. What does general facts mean? General facts, it means that it is a fact or it is a reality that everybody in the world, the whole world, believes on it or accept it. حقیقت‌های عمومی مسائل یا گپایی هست که کل دنیا، تمام مردم دنیا به آن باور دارند و به آن را قبول دارند. Okay, now, for example, the earth goes round the sun. The earth goes round the sun. یعنی زمین به دور خورشید میچرخد. This is a reality. Everybody in the world accepts it. Everybody in the world believes in it. That's why when you want to when you want to talk about a general truth, on that time you have to use simple present tense. به همین خاطر زمانی که شما میخواهید در مورد یک حقیقت عمومی که کل دنیا به آن باور دارند صحبت بکنید، شما زمان حال ساده استفاده میکنید. The second example, Kabul is the capital city of Afghanistan. Kabul is the capital city of Afghanistan. Now, this is a reality. Everybody in the world or the whole world believes or accept that Kabul is the capital city of Afghanistan. یک حقیقت است که کابل پایتخت افغانستان هست و تمام دنیایی را قبول دارند. So, as it is a general truth, you have to use simple present tense when you want to share this message or when you want to talk about it. The third example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. آب در 100 درجه سانتیگراد جوش می‌آید. Now, this is a scientific truth. This is a scientific fact. یک حقیقت علمی هست، ثابت شده هست، یک حقیقت علمی هست. That's why when you want to talk about a general truth, you can use simple present tense. Now, because water boils at 100 degrees Celsius is a scientific truth, you have to use simple present tense when you want to share it. So after this, whenever you want to talk about a general truth, you can use simple present tense. Now that you have learned how to use or where to use simple present tense, let's talk about how to form simple present tense. حالا که یاد گرفتید که در چه زمان و در چه شرایط از زمان حال ساده استفاده کنید، بیایید در مورد از این صحبت کنیم که شما چه رقم یک جمله را در زمان حال ساده بسازید. How to form a sentence in simple present tense. چطور یک جمله را در زمان حال ساده بسازیم. Okay. It is very easy. بسیار ساده است. Subject plus base form. Base form اما حالت اول فعل، حالت اساسی فعل. Subject یا فاعل به اضافه حالت اول فعل میشه simple present tense. بسیار ساده. For example, I work but he works. They play but she plays. Okay. Something you have to bear in mind is that you have to use s or es with third person singular. یعنی زمانی که subject یا فاعل شما he یا she یا it باشد، او وقت باید فعل شما یا s بگیرد یا es. This is the rule. Okay, you have to obey it. If my friends have this problem, they say, for example, he work, she play, or he eat. This is wrong. When you want to talk about when you want to talk in simple present tense and your subject is he, she or it, your verb must have an s or es. زمانی که شما در زمان حال ساده صحبت میکنید و ضمیر و فاعل شما he یا she یا it باشد، verb باید s یا es داشته باشد. Now let's discuss some more examples and let's learn how to ask questions in simple present tense. Let's talk about how to make questions and negative sentences in simple present tense. We use do or does to make questions or negative sentences in simple present tense. Okay. If your subject is he, she or it, you will use does or does not. Does for questions and does not for negative sentences. And if your subject is I, we, you, they, you will use do to make questions and do not to make negative sentences. Now, let's work on some examples and change them to questions or to interrogative and negative. Let's make some sentences and change them to interrogative and negative. Okay, the first one. She teaches at school. او در مکتب درس میدهد. او دختر یا او زن در مکتب درس میدهد. If you want to change it to interrogative, you will use the word does. Like you will say, does she teach at school? You cannot say does she teaches. That's wrong. You have to say does she teach at school. When you use does, you should not use the word teach with s or es. So does she at school? And the negative will be she does not teach at school or she doesn't teach at school. Okay. Second, the next example. We learn English every day. We learn English every day. ما هر روز انگلیسی یاد میگیریم. Now, because the subject is we, so you will use do or do not when you want to change the sentence to interrogative and negative. به خاطر از اینکه subject we هسته، شما از کلمه do یا do not برای تبدیل این جمله به سوال و جمله منفی استفاده میکنید. So, the interrogative sentence will be, do we learn English every day? Do we learn English every day? And the negative will be, we do not learn English every day. We do not learn English every day. So, bear in mind that you will use does or does not with he, she, it, and you will use do or do not with I, we, you, they when you want to make questions or negative sentences. So, this was simple present tense. I hope you have learned when and how to use simple present tense correctly. امیدوار هستم که یاد گرفته باشین که در چه زمانی و با چه صورتی زمان حال ساده را به صورت صحیح استفاده کنید. Do not forget that in my next video of the grammar session I will talk or I will discuss simple present continuous tense. یادتان نرود که در گرامر بعدی و یا در ویدیوی بعدی مربوط به گرامر ما present continuous یا زمان حال جاری را توضیح خواهم داد. I would highly appreciate your recommendations in the comment and I will surely consider them in my next videos. منتظر نظریات و پیشنهادات شما در قسمت کامنت هستم و حتما من از نظریات شما در ویدیوهای بعدی خود استفاده خواهم کرد. Thank you so much and have a nice time.